Welcome to the deep dive. We're diving into the world of Chainlink and the crypto landscape today. You've given us some fascinating articles to work with.
Yeah.
Really interesting stuff. A lot about Chainlink's price fluctuations lately, its connections to Trump, and then its role in this whole DeFi boom. So are you ready to unpack some of this?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the Chainlink price action. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, right? I mean, we saw that peak right after Inauguration Day, hitting $27, but then kind of a slide downwards since then.
Right. Although we are seeing some signs of stabilization now.
Okay.
Link's kind of hovering between $22 and $25.
Interesting. Now, one thing I thought was really interesting was after that Inauguration Day peak, we saw some of the biggest Chainlink holders, you know, those whales.
Right.
They sold off a pretty big chunk of their Link, like almost $150 million worth.
Wow.
Which seems a bit odd, right? Given all the hype around Chainlink. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
You know, you think typically whales buy during the hype and then sell when the price peaks.
Right.
So this sell-off could mean a few things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're just taking profits after that surge. But it also might signal, I don't know, a lack of confidence in Chainlink's future. What do you think?
It's tough to say for sure. I mean, on one hand, you've got this massive sell-off, which could be a red flag.
Yeah.
But like you said, LNK seems to be stabilizing now.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just a temporary thing.
It's possible. You also have to consider the whole crypto market, right?
Oh, good point.
Bitcoin's back above 120,500. Ethereum's over 3,100. So that recovery might be giving a bit of a boost to Chainlink as well.
Yeah, makes sense. It's all about context, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of context, there's this other piece of the puzzle that I just found so interesting, the whole Chainlink-Trump connection.
Oh, yeah.
One of the articles mentioned his new platform, TruthFi. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So Trump's company, Trump Media and Technology Group, they launched this platform, TruthFi. It's all about crypto investments.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is, World Liberty Financial, a company backed by Trump, they acquired a bunch of LNK on an Inauguration Day.
Wait, so the same day it peaked?
Same day the price peaked, yeah. And they've also integrated Chainlink's Oracle feeds into their platform.
So Trump's basically backing Chainlink.
Well, at least indirectly, yeah.
That's a big deal. How do you think that's going to impact Chainlink, both the price and just how it's perceived in the crypto world? Could this bring in like more institutional money?
It's definitely something to consider. I mean, Trump getting involved in crypto, especially with a token that's, connected to his ventures, it brings a whole other level of attention.
For sure.
And potential volatility. So it could attract investors who are, bullish on Trump, and maybe that drives up the price.
Right. But are there any downsides to that connection, do you think?
Well, on the other hand, some investors might be a little cautious, especially those who aren't, let's say, fans of Trump's businesses.
Right. I see what you mean. So it's a double-edged sword in a way.
Exactly. The impact really depends on a lot of factors.
Right.
How well TruthFi does, the general feeling towards anything Trump related.
Okay, so we've got this interesting dynamic playing out. Chainlink's price is all over the place. We've got these whales selling off, and now this whole Trump connection, which could go either way.
Definitely adds another layer to the story.
Absolutely. But before we get too lost in the weeds here, let's take a step back and talk about what Chainlink actually does.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, for sure.
Now, for some of our listeners who might not be, super familiar with the technical stuff, can you give us a quick Chainlink 101? What is it?
Okay.
What does it do? And why is it such a big deal, especially when we're talking about DeFi?
So at its heart, Chainlink is what we call a decentralized Oracle network.
Okay.
And, that might sound complicated.
Yeah, break that down for us.
So think of it like this. You've got these smart contracts, right?
Right.
Basically, they're like self-executing agreements on the blockchain.
Okay.
But they often need information from the outside world, real-world data.
I see.
And that's where Chainlink comes in.
Okay.
It acts as a bridge between those smart contracts and the real world.
Okay.
It's like a really secure, reliable messenger delivering that crucial data
Oh, that's a good analogy.
so they can work properly.
So instead of just existing in this blockchain bubble, these smart contracts can actually, interact with and respond to real world stuff thanks to Chainlink.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for DeFi.
Oh,
Like think of DeFi lending platforms like Aave or Compound.
right.
They need really accurate real-time prices to figure out, interest rates on loans, collateral requirements, all that.
Okay.
And Chainlink provides those platforms with those prices, those feeds, securely and reliably.
So it's kind of like the backbone of the whole DeFi ecosystem,
That's a good way to put it.
providing the infrastructure for all these like really innovative applications.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is Chainlink's not just limited to Ethereum anymore.
Right.
It's supporting other blockchains too, like Scroll.
Scroll, now what was that all about?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Remind us. We've talked about these scaling solutions before.
Yeah. Scaling solutions are basically ways to make blockchains faster and cheaper.
Okay.
Scroll, specifically, it uses these like zero knowledge proofs. Super cool cryptographic technique. Makes transactions like super efficient to verify.
Okay. Starting to ring a bell.
Yeah.
So Chainlink integrating with these new scaling solutions, what does that tell us about its role in the future of DeFi?
I think it shows they're really committed to staying ahead of the curve. As DeFi grows and changes, Chainlink's adapting right alongside it, making sure it can still provide its services to this whole ecosystem.
So zooming out a bit, what does all this mean for our listener? You know, we talked about price swings, whales selling off, the Trump connection, and now it's huge role in DeFi. It's a lot to take in. What are the key takeaways?
I think the main thing is Chainlink's this really fascinating example of how dynamic, how fast-moving the crypto world is. It's got huge potential, but it's also got its fair share of challenges and unknowns.
Right. And I think we see that in like the price volatility, the whales, even the debate around the Trump thing, right? Some people see it as a positive, some are more cautious.
Exactly, yeah. But one thing's for sure, the technology behind Chainlink is playing a huge role in DeFi. And as blockchain keeps getting integrated into different industries, I think Chainlink's in a great position to be a big player in this decentralized future.
Okay, so even with like those recent sell-offs and, you know, who knows what's going to happen with the Trump thing, Chainlink's still a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah?
The tech is important for DeFi. It's expanding to other blockchains. It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. And here's where things get really interesting. What happens as blockchain itself keeps evolving? What will Chainlink's role be? Will it stay as just this data provider?
Yeah.
Or will it become something, you know, even bigger?
Oh, now you've got me thinking.
Yeah.
What do you see for the future of Chainlink?
Well, what if Chainlink goes beyond just providing data, right?
You're right.
What if it starts actually shaping the DeFi landscape? You know, develops tools that automate some of these processes, makes them even more efficient, more accessible to everybody.
Now that would be a game changer.
Yeah.
We're talking about Chainlink almost becoming like the brains behind DeFi.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all speculation right now, but it's the kind of question we should be asking as we watch Chainlink, you know, as it develops.
So we've covered a lot here. Price swings, whales, the Trump factor, its role in the DeFi boom. And we even touched on its potential to, you know, to become even more influential in the future of decentralized finance.
It's been a deep dive, for sure. Lots to think about.
Yeah. But before we wrap things up, was there anything else that stood out to you from these articles? Anything we haven't touched on that our listeners should know about?
You know, there was one point I thought was really interesting. One of the articles mentioned that the average Coinbase user holds Chainlink for 84 days before they sell it or transfer it.
84 days, huh? That's interesting. What do you think that means?
Well, it could mean a couple things.
Yeah.
First, maybe a lot of Chainlink holders are in it for the long haul.
Okay.
They believe in it, they're willing to hold on, even when things get a little rocky.
So not just looking for a quick buck.
Right, looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
But it could also mean, you know, maybe some are just waiting for a certain price before they sell,
Ah, I see. Okay.
which could explain those big sell-offs we talked about earlier.
Right. So that 84 days could be both like long-term confidence and, you know, people being strategic.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely something worth digging into.
Well, I think we've given our listener plenty to chew on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a fascinating deep dive. Wow, we've covered so much ground today. From Chainlink's price going up and down to the whales selling off their LNK, and then, of course, that whole Trump connection. And we can't forget Chainlink's role in DeFi.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And what about that 84-day average holding period, huh? What do you think that means? Are people in it for the long haul? Or just waiting to cash out?
It's a good question, and I think that's really where the learning begins, right? We can lay out the facts in different perspectives, but it's up to each individual listener to draw their own conclusions.
I agree. We're not giving out all the answers, but hopefully giving people something to think about. And maybe even inspiring them to learn more about all of this on their own.
That's what I love about the crypto space in general. Always changing, always something new to learn. It really makes you think differently about like finance, tech, even the future of the internet as a whole.
Definitely. And Chainlink is right in the middle of it all. Whether it keeps being that essential piece of DeFi or becomes something even bigger, it's going to be fascinating to watch.
So any final thoughts for our listeners as they continue to explore Chainlink, things they should keep in mind?
Well, first of all, remember crypto can be volatile. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose, and always do your own research before making any decisions.
Very good advice. And this is just a starting point, right? Keep learning, connect with others in this space, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Who knows, maybe someday you'll be the expert on the deep dive, sharing your Chainlink insights.
That'd be great.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive into the world of Chainlink. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me.